Today's video is a little bit different. I'm going to do something that I couldn't really find anywhere on YouTube. It is all about makeup brushes, and it's not how to clean them. It is which brush is used on which area of the face. It may seem really simple, but it is so important, and it definitely makes such a big difference in the finished product. So let's get straight into it. So guys, please keep in mind when watching this video that I am a professional makeup artist, so I do have a shit ton of brushes. So you've got your two types of brushes, synthetic and sable. Obviously, synthetic are fake haired brushes, and sable is real hair. So normally your sable brushes will look like this. They will be black or like a really dark browny color. You do not need to spend a lot of money on makeup brushes. If you find brushes that you really love that are at a cheaper price point, buy them, use them, love them, replace them quicker if they don't last you as long, but you don't necessarily have to buy expensive makeup brushes. So I'm going to start with the different types of foundation brushes. So I use 4 foundation brushes depending on which foundation I use. So this one here is sable, and the rest are a mixture of sable and synthetic. So firstly, I'll talk about these two here. So these are what you call kabuki brushes or stippling brushes. They're really good for really liquidy foundations. Some people use these for powders. I personally don't. I don't really like them for powders. I think that when you're using these for liquid, that it blends so quickly. So they are quite soft. You can see that they're quite pliable. This one here is the 17S. It's by Napoleon. And this is the bigger version, which is the 23S, and that's by Napoleon as well. So when you're putting your foundation on with this, you can use a stippling motion. So you can be pressing it into the face, and you can do it really quickly, and then kind of just do circles all over the face. So you can use this size or smaller size. The smaller size is obviously going to take you a little bit longer, but it can get right in and around your nose a lot quicker and a lot easier. This one here is really good for blending in your concealer around and down under your eyes because it works, as I said, really well with liquids. Now you can see that these two foundation brushes are a little bit more firm. They don't have as much of a wavy feel to them. So these foundation brushes are what I go to if I'm using something like a stick foundation or a really hard foundation that you need to kind of break down first before you put it on. So anything that's not liquid really. They do take a little bit longer because they're not as big as the stippling brushes. This brush I've had since I was 14. This is an old Napoleon Purtis brush, and it's called 19B, and I have had this for 10 years, and it's been amazing. But I find that the kabuki brushes are a lot more popular now. This brush here is the G20 High Definition Foundation Concealer Brush. I love using this for concealing right around under the eyes. You can use it for your foundation as well, which is easy to get in all of the crevices of the face. So to set your powder, I always use Mega Powder Brush 50R, and it is absolutely massive. So I use this massive powder brush just to quickly do a powder all over my face. It literally takes 2 seconds. This is the 22B blush brush, and I use this for blush. I use it for my highlighter as well. So the fact that it's not too big, it just fits perfectly on that area of the cheek, and I use it for my powder highlight, which just goes up here. This is the Napoleon Buffer Brush in 24R. Now you can use this for foundation. Some people may call this like a flat top kabuki brush. You just need to make sure you clean it really well because products can get stuck really deep in there. It's quite a dense brush. I also use this for my spray foundation. So if I'm going to spray on, I'll then go in with this one here and just press it into place. I don't normally sweep it because I find that that moves everything that I've already done. This is the Napoleon 15B angled contour brush, and that is exactly what I use it for. It's similar to that NARS brush that a lot of people talk about. You can see it is quite skinny at the sides, and it's got that angle to it up the top here. It's really good to get in under your cheekbone to create a really strong contour. If you don't like a strong contour, I would probably just use the 22B blush brush. I don't have any contour on today because I am pasty. Okay, so now I want to talk about brow brushes. If you just like to use an eyebrow pencil, you can go in with a little spoolie and then just comb out the pencil that you've already done, and you won't need to use any type of synthetic or sable brush. However, if you are going to use a gel or a powder, I would definitely recommend using an angle brush. So I've got a few different angle brushes here. Some of them are synthetic and some are sable. The difference is this one here is a little bit fluffier, so it's not going to give me as defined brow. This one here is quite sharp. It's going to give me more of a defined look, and then these two here are about in the middle. This brush here came in a pack when I bought the Napoleon Brow Tox. It's got a spoolie at one side and a angle brush at the other side. Now we're going to move on and talk about blending brushes for the eyes. You can see that some are slightly bigger and some are smaller. So the bigger the blending brush for the eyes, the more smoked out blended look you're going to have. The smaller the blending brush, the more precision and the sharper it's going to look. This big brush here is the 16B by Napoleon Purtis. You would be using it through the socket of the eye and you would be sweeping it out. So that's kind of what I've done with that brown that's kind of faded out up the top there. If you were to use something like this, which you can see is a bit smaller, this is the brush that I use to create that really, really dark color just in there, because you want it to be blended, but you don't want it to be too big. If it's too big, it's going to look messy and it's just going to be spreading everywhere. It is the BYS eyeshadow brush. You can see that it is nice and kind of furry, but it's not too big, so it doesn't spread out too much. Let's talk about this one here. This is the MAC 217. It is a very, very popular brush. I use this one if I just want to chuck on one eyeshadow color really, really quickly. Now, it is a medium-sized blending brush, so you can use it on the outer socket of the eye, and then once you have not much left on the brush is when you just quickly take it into the crease. You would do that on both eyes, mascara, and then you could be out the door. It's very, very fast. It does not give you much precision. These two blending brushes here are very similar. They are a little bit more of a medium size. They're not going to give you too much precision and they're not going to give you too much smokiness. They're just in the middle, similar to the MAC 217. So they're good if you just want something quick and easy and just to blend colors out. I wouldn't go applying too much of a dark color with this because otherwise it will look messy. And this little gem is what I found today. I was shopping in Kmart. It is the brand Elf. One of my girlfriends, Jess, told me I have to check out this brand. So this one here, it's just called Elf Professional Eyeshadow Brush. Fancy name. So you can see it is a little bit more of a stubby brush. It's quite thin, and this is the brush that I use to get the smokiness under my eyes. So you can see that line under there is quite precise, but it's not sharp. It doesn't have a sharp edge. If I wanted this line underneath to have a sharp edge, I would go ahead and use something like the G5 by Napoleon Purtis because you can see how thin that is. Now I want to talk about the application of eyeshadow colors. So the blending brushes are to smoke everything out and blend it, or just to put one medium eyeshadow color in the socket and then blend it out. Now to apply colors such as this light white color that I have here, or the darkness that I have around this certain section here, you need quite small brushes. So a small eyeshadow application brush like this, it's called an 8B by Napoleon. You can see how tiny it is. I use this to get the light creamy color in here because it's a small area. Now this one is called the 7R. It's usually referred to in the makeup world as a bullet brush. So this is the brush that I use to put on that darkest color. Now when you're working with a really, really dark color, you don't want to just go in with a blending brush and just start moving it around because it's going to be really messy. So this bullet brush, you pick up your darkest color and you tap off any excess and then you press it onto the area where you want it. Once you've got all of that color off of your bullet brush, you then get your blending brush, and you can use the MAC 217 or you can use anything similar, and then you start slowly doing little circles and working it around the eye. Once you've got it all smudged out, you go back in with the bullet brush and you pick up more product and keep repeating. That's how you build up a really, really dark brown, and that's how it's really smoky without being messy. Just use a brush like this, it's not going to work. If you just use a brush like this, it's not going to work. I'm like the brush police. Some other little brushes that I am yet to speak about are these little babies here. These are what we call eyeliner brushes. So this one here is the 2H and this one here is the 5A. I personally like to use a 5A when I'm doing my wing eyeliner. It's perfect for getting right on the outside there, dragging it in, and you can get right into the little inner section here. You can definitely use the 2H. Usually you prefer one or the other. The 2H, I use this one if I have put my false lashes on and then I want to go in with some black eyeliner and just gently go over the top so you can't see the lash band because it is super, super tiny. This brush is also good if you have a blemish. So instead of trying to get a concealer brush, which I'm just about to talk about, you're getting one step ahead of me. Instead of getting this concealer brush, which is just a synthetic G10 by Napoleon, instead of getting this and trying to go over a blemish, like, it's not going to work, especially if the blemish has a bit of a raise or a head on it. You need to use something like this, dip it in the concealer, and then you can just dot it right on wherever you may have a blemish and then powder over the top of that. Because if you're trying to get a tiny little blemish with something like this, it's not going to work. So think about the size of the area that you want to cover and then pick your brush to match the size of that area. It's rocket science. Totes. So as I just spoke about, this is the G10. This is what I use for my concealer under my eyes. So I get my concealer out of my pot or whatever I'm using, and then I just sweep it under my eyes and create a V on both sides, and then I paint it up the top of my eye. I then go in with my ring finger and just set it all in and pat it in and around the eye to warm it up and press it into the primer. So these two brushes here are a 9B and a 10B by Napoleon. This is a pretty standard eyeshadow brush. You can use it once again for like the white color that I've put on my eye today. They are a flat brush. I would never use a flat brush for blending unless you want it to be kind of like a sharp look, but generally these are only used for applying color to the lid or maybe applying color under the brow. This one here is the Napoleon G3, and it is a tiny little synthetic brush. This is a lip brush. You can get like a lot of precision with this brush, and that's what I used on my lips today. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is recommend 8 must-have brushes. Something like this stippling brush here to do my primer and my foundation. Now this is the Napoleon G10. It is a medium-sized concealer brush for under the eyes. The third brush I would choose would be a big powder brush to apply your powder. Crazy, I know. The fourth brush I would choose would be this one here. This is the Napoleon 22B. It is a medium-sized blush, contour, and highlight brush. What a mouthful. This would be the fifth brush that I would choose, and it's the Napoleon brush that has the angle on one side and the spoolie on the other. This is what I use for my brows every single day. The sixth brush I would choose would be the Napoleon 7R, which is the bullet brush. I would definitely have to choose this because if I'm doing a dark smoky eye, I need something to apply my black with. So anything this kind of size and shape is perfect for using darkest brown or black. The seventh brush I would choose would be the BYS eyeshadow brush. As I've said, it's amazing for blending. It's nice and small, super soft, and it blends out any kind of colour that you've put through the socket. And the last brush I would have to choose would be an angle brush to do my eyeliner. I wouldn't use the same angle brush to do my brows because it's probably going to have product still left in it. So I would choose the 5A to do my wing eyeliner. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. How long have I had lipstick on my teeth? And don't use your fingers. Oh, brushes that are the must-have brushes if you really have no idea. I just get my loose powder and I just pick it up with the end of the I don't think that I could get any more tongue-tied today. I think I just woke up retarded or something. So blending, I think it's because I had a few weeks off and now I'm just like, boom. The smaller the brush, the more precision. And other brushes are generally Brooklyn. Well, there we go, guys. I hope my video has helped you a lot with your choice of brushes. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.